Baby girl, Billie Jean ain't my friend. Yeah. Lights, camera, action. Took a little break, now I'm going back in. Yeah. Hey, Michael Jackson, 10 toe down when I'm hitting my spin.
Hello kings and queens, my name is Jasper Stene and welcome back to my channel. I have been gone for a year now. It has been a year and so much has happened within the span of that year. God took me away from YouTube for a minute. I had too much going on, honestly. I had a lot. But let me quickly get you up to speed. I graduated with my bachelor's. I'm enrolled in my master's program. The funny thing, ironically, I have less time now during my master's than I had in my bachelor's, which is crazy. But nevertheless, I am here and I will be recording more often. And I know that I said that a lot, but honestly, I'm going to be recording more often. So let's just get right into the video, okay? So the other day I was talking to God and I'm like, God, okay, you want me to get back into YouTube, what do you want me to say? And the Spirit of the Lord, that night I had a dream and God answered, what I was asking, and he answered the question. If you guys hear noise in the background, a train is passing, pay no mind to that, please. But in that dream, God showed me a designer bag, right? And he had the designer bag sitting on top of the water. And I did not understand. I'm like, okay, God. It was so crazy because one of the features of the bag was, it basically was like, I don't want to say buoyant, but it had the ability to float. That was one of the features. That was one of the key designs of the designer bag. God started to talk to me. Are you going to sink or are you going to swim? Basically. And so in the dream now, God showed me the bag and the bag was on top of the sea, right? So he started to talk to me and he said that the sea represents storms. I'm like, okay, God, why do you have a designer bag on top of the storms? And he said, now, because the designer bag was created to have the feature where it was made to float, it floated on top of the water. However, now, water started to get into the bag, right? So he showed me now water being poured into the bag and the bag began to sink. So I'm like, okay, God, what is the purpose of this? Why are you, why are you, showing this to me? And so God says that you must not allow the storm, you must not allow what you're going through to get into your bag. You must not allow what you're going through to overwhelm you. You must not allow what you're going through to engulf you, basically, because then you begin to drown. So I'm like, okay, God, you're making it make sense. I'm like, okay, God, you're making it make sense, but I still need a little bit of download. I still need to understand what is actually going on here. What are you saying to me? If you see me looking down on my phone, it's because I have some notes written down, because it was so much. Like, when I woke up, I started like typing. So, the hand of God was holding the bag, right? And so he said, you should be trusting of the hand that is above you that will hold you above water. However, now, if you have the hand holding you above water, I'm well able to sustain you. The Bible talks about, in our weakness, his strength is perfected. And so I'm more than able to sustain you. However, you cannot allow the water to get into your bag, meaning you have to close yourself off from the storms that are going on in your life, because storms will come. The Bible tells us that storms will come. You being a Christian will not exempt you from going through. You being a Christian would not exempt you from anything else, anything that life has to throw at you. No, it does not exempt you from that, He further went on to say, and he began downloading, and he said, as the water entered the bag, that is the world. That is your problems. That is the storms and all of that entering inside of you. That is it becoming who you are. You should not allow what you're going through to become who you are. You should not be accepting, oh God, I'm going through this, I'm going through that, that's who I am. No, that's not who you are. That's not That's not who I made you to be. That's not your identity. You find your identity in Christ. But however, now the word says that we are in the world, but not of the world. Okay. So now, just because you are seated or you are sitting on top of the water, you do not become a part of the water until the water gets inside of you. You do not become a part of the world until the world gets inside of you. You cannot be allowing the world to get inside of you. You have to be above the world. Okay, makes sense. God, we're in the world, but not of the world, right? Okay. So you should not be accepting what you're going through. That should not be, you should not become so comfortable or so complacent in the fact that, okay, God, I'm going through this, I'm going through that, and it is what it is. You know, a lot of times you have people saying, oh, you know, I'm trying to keep my head above water, or I'm trying to, you know, do this just to get by. No, because when that happens, you become comfortable. You become accepting, like, okay, well, I'm just doing what I gotta do. No, you were not created to do just the bare minimum. You were not created to be inside that situation. You were not created to be inside that situation forever. And so when we allow the world to get inside of us, when we allow the water basically to get into our bags, what happens? We begin to sink. The question is, are you going to sink or swim? Where you allowing the water to get inside of you is going to allow you to sink. Come on. Think about it. When someone is drowning, they're treading water, right? They're treading water. And then if they start to drink the water, right? If the waves overtake them, thank you, Holy Spirit. If the waves overtake them, they start to drown. And so you sucking up what the world has to offer. You're sucking up your storm. You're going to drown. You're going to drown. That's what it is. You're going to drown. And God did not create that for you. Remember, the feature of the bag was for it to be sustained. The feature of the bag was for it to be held up by the word of God. The feature of the bag was for it to float. However, when you become encapsulated or engulfed by what you're going through, when you become enveloped, when that becomes who you are, when, you know, barely living by with your finances, you struggling to maintain your grades in school, whatever that is, when you allow that to become who you are, you begin to sink. Okay, and sinking represents acceptance. That represents, okay, well, it is what it is. We all say this. It is what it is. No, sweetheart, it's not what it is. Okay, because you were not made to be in that situation. You were not made to accept that situation. And so, of course, the devil is going to throw darts at you. The devil is going to throw all these things at you and all these storms. You will go through storms, but you must ride out the storm. No, for real. You must ride out the storm. God made you to not be engulfed by that storm. So yes, you're going to go through, there are going to be a lot of things that will test your faith. The Bible tells us that. But in it testing your faith now, will you allow your faith to be shaken? Will you allow that to knock your belief of God? Will you allow that to completely end your life with Christ? No, it should not. Right? Okay, God, this season that you have me going through is very suckish and I don't like it, and I am, no. Boss, who do you think you are? Like, everyone in life goes through problems. Pastors, preachers, apostles, prophets, Christians overall, it doesn't matter your calling. Believers and unbelievers, we all go through storms. But are you being encapsulated by that storm? Are you being engulfed by that storm? Are you allowing the water to enter into your bag? Are you drowning? Are you drowning? You were made to struggle against the water. You were made to float above water. God made you to be above water. And so even in you being above water, block out the naysayers and those that mean you no good, those that pull you away from God. Block out those things. Block out hatred. Block out envy. Block out malice. Block out things that go against the fruit of the Spirit. If you know that certain friend is pulling you away from God and that certain friend is not pushing you towards things of God, then why are you still with them? Why are they still in your circle? See, because the people that you have in your circle, they have immediate access to you. They're the ones putting the water in your bag. Ooh. They're the ones that is putting the water inside your bag. And so when you're going through, when you're riding out the storm, it's very, 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 very important for you to know who is inside your circle. It's very important for those that are around you. Because why? They must be the ones now to block out or feed you the word, not the world. Okay? They must be the ones that are basically blocking off the things from you or feeding you good things. That way that the world cannot get inside you. That way the water cannot get inside your bag. But who do you have in your circle? Who do you have in your circle? Who is the one in your life that is putting the water into your bag? In some cases, it can be a best friend. It can be a boyfriend. It can be a girlfriend. It can be your spouse. It can also be yourself. Reality check. Sometimes we're the ones subconsciously putting the water into our bags because we're being influenced or just simply because our faith is not right. So now we need to examine, okay, God, I'm a Christian and I need to get my life together. We've all been there. God is always, there's always something that God uses to pull me in closer to Him. And so maybe you need a revival. You know, maybe God needs to stir up the gifts that are inside your stomach. Maybe God needs to renew your faith. But how will He do that? You need to ask Him. You need that time where you're like, okay, God, something is wrong. You need to actually recognize that there is an issue. Because if you always think that there is no issue, then how will the issue be resolved? Acceptance is key. Okay, you have to accept it. Accept that there is an issue. You have to acknowledge that there's an issue, accept that there's an issue, and then work on getting the issue fixed. The funny thing, and I was talking to my dad about it, and my dad, he told me this. He said, the funny thing is, Jasper, the longer you stay afloat, the longer your life is. And I'm like, wow, God. And I'm like, God, that is so interesting because if you think of someone drowning or someone on water, right? Someone that is in the water, they are floating. But the longer they stay afloat, the longer they live. But it's only when they get tired. It's only when the water begins to enter them, then they begin to drown. The moral of this is, who is influencing your bag? Who is the one bailing out the water out of your bag, and who's the one putting the water into your bag? Examine your circle. Examine those that are around you. Examine your bag. Does your bag have holes? These are some interesting questions, and it may seem, you know, we always talk about, I'm getting to the bag, I'm getting to the money, whatever. No, but your bag, your soul, your body. Examine, does your body, your soul have holes? Is it leaking? Is it leaking? Examine yourself, examine your body, examine your bag. Who is the one that is pouring into you, and who is the one that is bailing out of you? Thank you guys for watching this video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and all that other fun stuff. And I will see you guys in another video. Bye.
Hey, Michael Jackson, 10 toe down when I'm hitting my spin. Lights, camera, action, yeah. Hey.